Rules of Power, a game not everyone master. In one of the meetings, a young, ambitious man stood up to confidently present his idea. His idea was strong, but no one listened to him. Afterward, another man spoke with fewer words, but the entire room fell silent. It wasn't the idea that made the difference. It was the way it was presented. This is where the story begins. Power is not about shouting or authority. Power is being heard without asking, being respected without explaining, moving confidently in a world that doesn't offer favors. These rules are soft skills built on observation, intelligence, and awareness. You'll learn to see what's behind the words and act as if you're always in a position of influence. Whoever wants to make a difference must first understand the game. Just a reminder before we start the segment, these are the 5 rules that complete the previous 25 rules. There are 28 left. Don't forget to like and subscribe so the video reaches the largest number of viewers. Enjoy watching. Rule 26. Keep your hands clean of mistakes, the flame that leaves no burn. In the grand court of the Abbasid Caliphate, where the sword was drawn for the slightest slip, there lived a man named Al-Fadl ibn Sahl, the vizier of Caliph al-Mamun, and one of the sharpest political minds of his era. But Al-Fadl was no ordinary minister of blood and power. He was a shadow that moved with caution, as if his feet never touched the ground. Whenever a sedition arose, someone was always blamed, but his name was never mentioned. Whenever the caliph promoted a man and later dismissed him, people sensed hidden hands, yet no clear fingerprint. Someone once asked him, "How do you do all that you do, yet are never blamed for anything?" He replied, "A successful politician is like a clever assassin. He leaves no trace of the weapon." Al-Fadl made decisions through others. He guided, pushed, and pulled, but never stood at the front. He wove plans without being entangled and let his enemies err, only to appear later as the savior. And when he was accused in a grand conspiracy, it was the caliph himself who said, "Al-Fadl? No, it's not in his nature to make mistakes publicly." Thus he survived, once, twice, 10 times, because he understood a golden rule: let the fire burn, but never hold it with your own hand. Explanation of the rule. Success isn't just about achieving things. It's about protecting yourself from blame. In a world of conflict, people don't seek truth. They seek a head to hang on the wall. So, don't put your name on anything risky. Don't stand at the front when failure is likely. Use those around you as instruments of execution, while you remain safely in the shadows. Clean hands don't always mean innocence. They mean wisdom in choosing who carries the danger for you. A modern example. In American politics, Henry Kissinger, National Security Advisor, maneuvered war and peace from behind the curtain. He orchestrated complex deals, planned coups, yet was rarely directly blamed. Why? Because he always moved others, never led from the front. He once wrote in his memoirs, "The successful diplomat is never seen on the battlefield, only in the victory photos." The lesson: let your presence be felt, but not seen. He who stumbles in public, even if innocent, gets condemned. But he who stays clever in the shadows rules without being held accountable. Play the maestro, not the musician. Let the music play in your name, without ever breaking an instrument in your hands. Rule 27. Use people's need to believe in something to gain loyal followers. Mehmed the Conqueror, the dream that became destiny. In 1453, Mehmed II, known as Mehmed the Conqueror, stood at the gates of Constantinople, determined to take the greatest city in the Christian world. Though Constantinople was heavily fortified, surrounded by some of the most formidable walls in history, Mehmed held a deeper secret, one that even his army did not fully grasp. People need something to believe in. While his soldiers feared the strength of the city's defenses, Mehmed focused on something else. Their faith in a dream greater than any wall and more powerful than any war. He would tell them stories of the long-awaited conquest. He filled their souls with the dream of the city that would become the heart of the world. He made them see Constantinople not as an impenetrable fortress, but as a bride awaiting her groom. He spoke of the conquest as if it were destiny, inevitable and divine. Even when doubts spread about the siege's success, he reminded them this was a promise. He made them feel they were part of a divine mission, that each soldier was not merely fighting for a city, but opening the doors to a whole new world. And when the city finally fell, Mehmed hadn't just conquered a city, he had conquered the hearts of his army. He had loyal followers who never turned back, even in hardship, because they believed in the same vision their leader held. He wasn't the strongest commander, but he was the one who gave his people something to believe in. Explanation of the rule. People are always searching for something to believe in. A great leader doesn't pull people forward by force, but by dreams, by vision, by shared values that ignite their hearts. Faith runs deep. If you can show people they're part of something bigger, that they're not just fighting for a win, but for a future, they'll follow you, even when the outcome is uncertain. A modern example. Mark Zuckerberg, founder of Facebook, didn't just offer people a social network. He sold them a vision that the world could become more connected, and that they were part of that global connection. Every time someone logged into Facebook, they felt like they were contributing to something larger. They felt like they were helping change the world. And when competing platforms emerged, Zuckerberg already had hundreds of millions of users who didn't just believe in the product, they believed in the idea. A lesson. The more people believe in your cause, the more willing they'll be to sacrifice for it. Belief cannot be bought. It must be built. If you want to be a true leader, don't just train people in tasks. Give them a dream they can believe in, and they'll follow you wherever you go. Rule 28. Move boldly. Shyness does not bring power. Alexander the Great, the adventurer who feared no challenge. In 334 BC, a young man named Alexander III, known to history as Alexander the Great, led his army toward Persia, facing one of the greatest challenges of his time. Not only was his army smaller in number, but his enemies were defending an ancient empire, a superpower long thought invincible. But Alexander, who lacked vast numbers and massive weaponry, relied instead on his tactical brilliance and military skill. And he never showed fear. On the contrary, he moved with unmatched boldness, as if the entire world had been waiting for him to take action. At the Battle of Issus, the odds were stacked heavily against him. The Persian army wasn't just larger, it was better equipped and held strategic advantages that could have easily crushed his forces. Still, the young Alexander didn't hesitate. He drove his troops into the heart of battle, across difficult terrain and potential traps, refusing to let doubt paralyze him. He insisted on striking the most dangerous front. No hesitation, no overthinking. Just pure focus on one goal: revenge and conquest. When the fighting began, every move he made was bold. Every decision echoed with confidence. His boldness became his edge, and when the cunning Persian generals saw his fearless cavalry charging, they realized victory does not belong to the larger army, but to the one that moves with confidence when it matters most. Explanation of the rule. Fear freezes action. Shyness blocks creativity. Those who move with confidence, even when they're at a disadvantage, can change the course of history. Don't wait for the right moment to act. The best time is now. Boldness doesn't mean recklessness. It means believing in your ability to make decisive moves, even in the face of uncertainty. He who fears failure will never achieve greatness. A modern example: Richard Branson, founder of the Virgin Group, started his business journey with limited resources and in an environment full of uncertainty and challenge. But instead of waiting, saving, or playing it safe, he chose to act boldly and quickly. He risked what little he had to enter the aviation industry, despite all odds. He once said, "If you don't try to change things, you'll stay where you are. What I fear isn't failure, it's the fear of failure." Today, he owns a vast empire with hundreds of companies across multiple industries, all because of his boldness at key moments. The lesson: boldness is the key. Don't wait for the perfect opportunity. Seize the ones in front of you, even if they seem risky. Those who don't move never arrive. If you're seeking strength and success, know this: shyness is your first enemy. Rule 29. Plan all the way to the end. Jamal al-Din al-Afghani, the visionary who planned for the future. In the late 19th century, Jamal al-Din al-Afghani set out to awaken the Islamic world from its deep slumber. He traveled from kingdom to kingdom, speaking, strategizing, and calling for a broad civilizational renaissance. But there was something that set him apart from other intellectuals of his time. His ideas weren't just passing thoughts. They were complete plans, designed to the very end. While in Egypt, under British colonial rule, he began to voice the idea of liberation. But he didn't stop there. He didn't just shout for freedom. He mapped out a precise vision for how to achieve it. Unlike those who chanted slogans without substance, al-Afghani understood that true liberation doesn't come from words. It comes from a solid, well-drawn plan. He would say, "If you want to achieve something great, don't stop at the first steps. Map out your entire plan. Leave no room for surprises at the end." More than once, he would sit with fellow revolutionaries, revisiting the steps, rearranging priorities, and carefully laying out each phase of action. He constantly reminded them that real movements don't start with chance, but with decisive decisions and strategic planning. And even though he didn't live to see the fruits of his work, his thoughts and plans became the seeds for what came after. He prepared the Arab mind for what was to come, like an architect laying the foundation for a future city. Explanation of the rule. Success doesn't come from random actions. Planning isn't about just drawing lines on paper. It's about having a clear vision that begins with the end in mind. and works backward from there. If you don't have a detailed plan, you won't know how to navigate the difficult stretches of the road. Start with your complete plan, then follow it step by step. Be ready for change. And when you find yourself in a tough position, remember, it's just one phase in a much larger plan. A modern example. Stephen Covey, author of The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, famously said, "Begin with the end in mind. That's the heart of true success." When you start with a full picture of your destination, you prepare yourself for the detours along the way. What you do at the beginning determines how you finish. Elon Musk, when founding Tesla, wasn't just trying to make electric cars. He had a far bigger plan to reshape the entire industry. Each move was part of a bigger vision: electric vehicles, then sustainable energy, and ultimately space travel. His plans were long-term and crystal clear. He didn't stop at any stage. He used each milestone as a launch pad for the next. The lesson: don't let excitement scatter your focus. Always begin with clear intent and follow through with realistic, strategic plans. Those who plan thoroughly are the ones who succeed in execution. If your plan is incomplete, your progress will be shaky. Rule 30. Make your achievements look effortless. Leonardo da Vinci, the genius who hid the cost of his brilliance. In the Renaissance era, there was one man with countless titles, yet at his core, he preferred to remain in the background. Leonardo da Vinci. Artist, scientist, engineer, inventor, he moved between these identities as if passing through stations. But what truly defined his genius was his ability to make even his greatest achievements seem effortless. Take, for example, the Mona Lisa. It was not just a painting of a smiling woman. It was the pinnacle of artistic expression in his time. No one could guess how many hours, days, and months he spent perfecting the balance between light and shadow, or the minute details that made the painting timeless. Every brushstroke was placed with extreme precision, yet Da Vinci would casually tell others that it was a simple piece, that he just painted it in a moment of inspiration. He never spoke of the struggles, the doubts, or the complexity of the work. He remained calm, and when he spoke about his creations, he gave them an aura of simplicity that made them seem easy to others. In his engineering inventions as well, he produced works that showcase the highest potential of human creativity. But when explaining them, he always downplayed their complexity. Da Vinci seemed to understand a deep secret. If you want people to admire you, let them believe you achieve greatness effortlessly. Rule explanation. People love great accomplishments, but they prefer them to appear simple and clear. If you show others how much effort something took, they might think the success is too hard to reach. But when success looks easy, it enhances your image in their eyes. Don't overemphasize the struggles. Make the path seem smooth. People are drawn to stories that inspire, not those that discourage. A modern example: Steve Jobs, founder of Apple, was known for his powerful, minimalistic presentations that made advanced technology look simple. When he introduced the first iPhone, he didn't talk about the technical challenges or the years of development. Instead, he simply said, "We've made a device that simplifies your life and brings everything you need into one place." He made the iPhone seem like a natural idea, when in reality, It was the result of immense planning and hard work behind the scenes. The lesson: complexity doesn't showcase your brilliance, it highlights your struggle. Let your success appear natural and effortless, as if it was simply meant to be. Those who don't display the difficulty of the journey are often seen as people whose success was inevitable, even achievable by others. Make the extraordinary look simple, and you'll leave a lasting impression. True power comes from understanding how to influence and inspire, not from physical actions or motivational words. Each of these principles represents a step toward excellence, from motivating others to making decisions with courage and clarity. By applying these principles in your life, you'll be on the right path to achieving sustainable success. Don't forget to subscribe and like to follow more inspiring ideas.